You're listening to the Jōrni Podcast. We often think healing takes years, maybe even lifetimes, but could it happen in a moment? Stay tuned as we explore a transformative experience. This episode contains adult subject matter, and some listeners may be triggered by this content. Listener discretion is advised. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Jōrni Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. In this episode, we explore what it means to take ownership of your healing. The path is rarely linear and often asks us to confront parts of ourselves we would rather avoid. Skai Delacroix is a master healer and transformational coach from France, dedicated to helping people unlock their true power and purpose. With 22 years of inner work, including 3 spent in silence, he has guided thousands of people in 50-plus countries through deep healing and self-mastery. Blending somatic work, mindset shifts, and quantum energy work, Skai supports conscious entrepreneurs, creatives, healers, and visionaries to clear core blocks and live fully aligned with their mission. After 20 years in the US, he now lives in Portugal with his wife Susan, a doula trainer and Ayurvedic practitioner, where they're creating a sacred sanctuary for healing, community, and expansion. Let's meet Skai Delacroix. Hi, Skai. It's so great to have you on the podcast today. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you because we will be talking about taking ownership over our healing and our expansion. To me, that is such a fascinating topic and so many things we can talk about there. And I know you also have a very profound personal story. So thank you for joining me today and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Petra. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. It's my absolute pleasure because I know that your story has so much to offer, and I am grateful that you are coming here today to share. So would you like to start us off with a little bit about yourself and maybe the pieces of your journey and of your story that connect to what you do today? And let our listeners know a little bit about what it is that you do today as well.
Okay. Well, I guess everything connects with what I'm doing today. I think that's the proper outcome of our growth of our spiritual path. And I started to make it brief doing a business school in France, in Paris in 2001. And I didn't feel aligned at all. I was learning marketing, and so mainly how to manipulate people to sell them products they don't need at the highest price possible. I was not very conscious-minded at all, to say the least, but I had a problem with that. I was pretty honest, and ethical. And I had a spiritual awakening after questioning. And so my life changed very abruptly, actually. And I spent many years I spent first a year already in a state of ecstasy. I was so happy every day. I could hear an inner voice. It was my voice, but very clear, very loud, explaining me who I was, why I came back, what I'm going to do, what's going to happen. I had vision of the future. It was amazing, deconstructing many things, many programs. And then after a year, it subsided. I started losing that. And then I went on the other side, and a very long period of being fully ungrounding, being bipolar. And I was diagnosed at some point with schizophrenic tendencies because I had some visions. So a lot of struggle for 10 years to be able to bridge basically these two worlds. And until 2012, when I received a strong calling to stop everything I was doing, I had already changed my life. I was about to do a big movie in Los Angeles. And I realized I would not be happy because I was still feeling two separate beings between that higher self who could access all this knowledge, this intuition, and that lower self who wouldn't. basically align with it. So I entered in silence for 3 years. But not just silence, I did a bit some intense things. So I spent 1 year on a chair, literally meditating night and day, 23 hours a day without moving. No, I wouldn't go to bed. I would just have a very small breakfast when I'd be done. And so working on energy, on really deconstructing at another level, basically everything I've learned, accessing my energy to transcend pain, to transcend hunger, thirst, boredom, all the things you can imagine you have when you stand for that long on a chair. So it was a bit like Himalayan yogi deconstruction, pretty intense. Then I spent another year walking. So I would walk 20, 30 miles a day, no food, no water, in between the breakfast and night. So like same thing, tapping into energy, going beyond pain. After that year, I started feeling a lot of light entering not just my mind, but also my body. I started having a very intense, beautiful energy. I was very happy. It was what I was looking for. And then I ran. I thought I would be done, but the guidance made me run for about a year, like 40, 50 miles a day, so in steep canyons. And that's when I learned to heal myself with my energy. I didn't really speak to anyone. I didn't really have resources at the time. So I had my energy. And that's how I learned to heal my Achilles, my knee, like some even skin issues, to work on myself. I was my first guinea pig. And after that, I started more working with people, more at the beginning as a spiritual guide, and then moving way more into the healing part, which I'm focusing now more. I'm bridging both, but I really focus on that. And I developed a technique for these years, which is called the double vortex, which creates very rapid healings. I received an email yesterday. Actually, it was funny when I was filling the form for the podcast of a very nice lady who I've never met, who just tried, my vortex. And I remember she emailed us last year crying, saying she had 40 years of herpes. And she's starting doing the double vortex before an event we were doing with a partner. And the herpes stopping receding. And apparently it fully cleared. And recently she had a terrible neck and shoulder pain, which nothing would work, not that she would try. And she didn't have much resources, I think. She had an appointment in 3 weeks with an acupuncturist. So she remembered about the vortex again and she tried it. She said immediately the pain stopped. And after a few days, it was almost completely gone. And so she told me, I would really like to spread that to as many people as possible, because that was for me very touching to receive that. I was thinking about it. I was thinking this practice really, it shouldn't be just thousands, it should be millions of people doing it, because it's very quick. It's a very quick access to the field, to the 0-point field. And it works at all levels, basically for trauma, whether they're emotional, physical, spiritual, really at all levels. And people in my groups, or even like this beyond my groups, have like very, very quick and surprising results. So it's mainly what I teach now, and I have a program where we go also deeper into this technique and into the mindset also, the mindset to be able to take ownership over your life, which is one of my core message also for people.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm just amazed that you sat for 1 year, walked for 1 year, and ran for 1 year. It's absolutely just incredible to hear you share that and the kind of connection that you started developing because of connecting so deeply with your own energy. I feel it almost underlines this idea that we all have these innate capabilities inside of us for healing and for happiness and for actually living a fulfilling life. But that gets buried so often under the noise of what goes on in life and pain and injuries. So it is absolutely wonderful to hear you share that and have that hope in the sense that we all have that inside of us and we can access that. Now, tell us a little bit more about your double vortex, because is that a keystone of what you teach in healing, or is it part of a methodology or an approach that you teach? Where does that fit in? And what is it, in a sense, when you talk about the double vortex?
Yeah, first I'd like to address what you just said, because that's really important. We all have that. No, you don't need to spend 3 years in silence and doing extreme things. That's what I write at the very beginning of my book. I just published my memoir, 3 years in silence. And like, you don't have to do what I did. That was my personal path. And I've been learning a lot and I've been working on many different levels. You don't need that at all. We all have that gift. We just need to basically do the work to open to it. And there's different ways. It's my way, there's many different ways to do that are amazing. But there are ways, and we need to explore that to access this power. But we cannot all do it. And then it's just a matter of time that we take ownership over that. And there's nothing really that we cannot heal to me. I'm really seeing people healing their bones, healings like AIDS, healings herpes, healings COVID, long COVID, healing chronic fatigue, cancer, stage 4, people who were supposed to die. In just 3 years, that are restarting with that intensity, it's been crazy. We all have that. And that, to me, the core message. We are divine beings. I call that divine or human, but it's the real human for me. And we just need to realize that and access that and practice also, have a regular practice. So that's why the Vortex, to explain you a little more, how does that fit in what I do? Yes, it's one of the core technique, maybe even the core ones, but my work is not just about technique. It's about understanding. Also, it's about emotions as well. It's about somatics. It's about inquiry. It's about also coming together to work inside a lot of people to work together because that amplifies so much the work. So the Vortex is simple. It's a 4-step process. It's an psycho-energetic technique. So it uses our psyche and our energy basically to activate it. So the first step is to stop our mind. So people are surprised because they do trainings, meditation trainings, where it takes years, to silence your mind. And I just say, people just stop it. And you have that power. And it's going to be 5 seconds, 20 seconds, but you have enough basically to drop. And then the second step, you drop into your heart. And you start moving your energy. So you visualize or you feel your energy moving around you in a counterclockwise motion. Counterclockwise because this is for unscrewing, like removing. When you unscrew, that's what you do. You do counterclockwise motion. So you basically visualize or feel like a liquid gold and you let it spin around you. You enter that movement very freely. So you're not focusing on thinking anymore or trying to not think or trying to dodge thoughts or whatever great method of counting numbers. Just focusing at someone here who he's a residence manager in a property in Portugal. And he was counting for years. And he told me, yeah, I don't have much result. I said, for sure, try this. So I gave him the method. He told me, Sky, it's incredible. I can see the 2 vortices spinning around me. I could feel I was so happy. That helps you to do a sort of self-hypnosis, where you're going to basically hypnotize your mind and put it on that field, on the movement, on the motion, which realigns with who we are. Because we are a double vortex, a torus. And our energetic field, scientifically, it's a torus. It's going to bring us there. As we spin counterclockwise, we just let drop everything that we don't want, negative thought, negative energy. We stay in that peace as much as we can. We don't fight. So we clear. And then when we become a bit more expert, we go into ourselves. We can access different parts with our organs or into someone else if you're a healer. And you can start basically clearing as well. And when the field is clear, you feel usually a relief. You feel more peace. You feel more light. You feel something, significant. Then you can change the direction and you go into a clockwise motion. This time you reprogram, like you would screw something. Now you screw into a wall. So now you're going to screw basically and reprogram really what you want inside of your field. So you're using your intention, which is basically 97% of the power of your creation for the good, because you've been clearing instead of peace. You're not with your mind anymore trying to manifest things that have no root. You're connecting deep in your heart. And from that place, you start reprogramming positively what you really want. And the last step is to ground. You ground that into the earth to not be just something, fluffy or spiritually, like bypassing, to be something very tangible. We anchor that field into the earth and we protect our field, our energetic field, also to filter it from other negative energies. So it's very simple. It works really quick, above all when you do it together, actually, with someone else, with a partner, but when you do it alone as well. And it's 4 essential steps: accessing, purifying, clearing, activating, and grounding.
Yeah, that sounds very deceptively simple because these are things we may all be familiar with, And I can sense, even as I was listening to you speak and I was imagining this counterclockwise and then the clockwise, I can already feel that something is happening to me. Something is changing. My head feels a little bit lightheaded at the moment. Something is already changing. So this is very profound. And as you said, in a very simple way that we can access this. Now, considering that I've been doing this with you maybe for a minute or two, this actually has a very quick effect. And I can only imagine if you did this consistently or for even a bit longer of a time, what these changes could be that are happening. And I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to this conception of that if we want to heal, it takes a long time and sometimes we can't heal or this or that, because I have a feeling that that really is a myth. When we go straight to energy and we go straight to sort of these innate abilities that we have, where do we end up with time and healing? Those myths don't seem to apply anymore.
No, it doesn't apply at all, actually, because time is bendable. Time is not linear. Time is multidimensional. So when you access these deeper layers, I call that zero-point energy. Zero-point energy in quantum physics, it's the source of everything. That's why people call God, in spiritual terms. It's really basically the source where the vibration of any particles is at the level zero, not manifested, not activated, but at the same time at the maximum potential. So when you're able to bring your consciousness to that level, which is reaching silence in spiritual terms or in meditation, when you do that, you start operating not from the outer layers, but from the very center. So instead of changing this block, which can be very long, like most healings are doing, you go to see this doctor and then you go to do this, you're accessing literally your divine point, your divine power at the source. So any change you're making from that space, it's going to reverberate through your whole body, basically. First your energetic field, and then your body field. And so the result are stunningly quick. I work with someone who was 1 year bedridden. She's a singer, award winner of the Grammys 2 times, beautiful beings. And when she reached out to me, she was dying. She said, I'm going to die. I cannot get out of bed. I tried everything, any modalities, Eastern, Western, and nothing can do. We worked together and she was 70% back after one session. Like 70% back, she could move, she could go back, she couldn't even answer her fans of that. And we did a second session, and then it was not back to 100%. She was 150, 200% of what she ever felt. She said, I never felt such love, such peace, such connecting to her soul, to really knowing what she was, to finding why is she here, okay, to sing, etc. But it's like a deeper layer. So that helps you uncover, not only heal what you have, but go to the next level. And that's the case with every person I work with. They come with a cancer, they come with a Crohn's disease, whatever that is, and they are becoming different beings, becoming really who they are. We are who we are anyway. We're just in progress, and we'll always be in progress. But we can, let's say, take some very quick and profound step to be even more who we are, even deeper. And that, to me, is what it helps with, really facilitating that access. And once you have done it once, you know it's possible, you experience it, whether it's a one-on-one, whether it's a group, when you feel, whether it's through breath work, through energy, when you feel that, oh, that's possible, that's really what I am, and that's what I want. And when you want it and you practice it, it happens. And that's what the people, all my students, they do it 3 times a day when you wake up and during day to recenter, and going to bed. Of course, you adjust it to what you need and the time and the length and all of that, but you want to stay connected to the energy. And everyone who's doing that have not only rapid healing, but they can start feeling that source, that connection all the time. And right now I have 5 people in my group who have cancer, and they have no fear. They say, I don't fear. Let's see, what are the exam, but I don't fear. And when you don't fear, and when you have faith and you're joyful and you're happy and you understand why you've been going through all of that, you're creating a container for your cells, which is pure, which is the more light, because your cells, epigenetics, like the great Bruce Hinton, who already a while ago, they respond to the environment. And our environment is our mood, it's our emotions, all of that. That's how we condition our body. So it's not magic. At the beginning, I thought it was miracles. And I had not studied that. I didn't really understand even what I was doing there. It was just happening. But now for me, it's not a miracle at all. We're just creating like a very pure container for our body, for our cells to understand, to cells to regenerate, to do all of this. It's more the opposite that surprised me, honestly. Now, when it's hard for some people, I'm surprised. In my experience, it's been so quick and so consistent. And that happens also. I'm not going to deny that. Some people, I'm doing the same thing, and for them, it's not happening. And they try. So sometimes their mind is really locked, really stuck. So it's harder to access that. Sometimes also they don't do the work, like fully. But the people who do it fully with the heart open, that I've not seen it failing. But so we all have that. It's just finding a way. The people who struggle a bit, I say just be patient. Keep going right, left, up, down. Don't get discouraged. That's really what I've been learning myself through all these years. Do not get discouraged. It's a matter of time, and you bend time and you get there. But if you stop, if you're discouraged, the energy cannot really help you anymore. So you have to keep opening, keep trusting, keep working. And to answer a question about my program, that's really what I help people with, finding that steadfastness, that consistency. And that's why my path is not so much to open energy that I did that, but to find that resilience and that desire, that force to always go, to always welcome any pain, any obstacle, any boredom, any disease, an opportunity to grow. Not in theory, but in practice, something you really feel in your body, because I know a lot of people say that out there. It's often repelling for the ego, to accept that, I have that condition, which I cannot heal for a reason I didn't choose that. Say, yeah, you choose that, but not your ego, your soul. You're not just an ego, you're a soul as well. The soul is choosing the challenges that you're going to go through with you. And when you take power over that, you start understanding why. Why am I bedridden? Why am I suffering here? Why am I choosing that? You start taking power over your healing instead of being a victim. And God knows I've been a victim for a long time, of my parents, of my exes, of the system, of society, of everything, until I understand, no, it's me, the creator. Why do I choose that? And why do I choose to learn through that? And when you ask yourself this question, there's a 180 shift. Immediately you start coming from under above, and you start being able to receive help, even to find help from others and receive it. Even if it's not you doing it, it's you participating in it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense and brings us back to this personal ownership of our healing and our growth and our happiness, our own role in that. As you're explaining some of that, I am wondering, when you work with your clients and even with yourself and your own experience, does this kind of work often bring up big emotions because people have experienced trauma, they've experienced abuse or injuries, and sometimes very grave things? When we start working with energy in this way and connecting to ourselves in this way, does that bring up sometimes a lot of difficult emotions, pain, or sadness, or fear, even, or resistance, where people really have to face some of these things that might have been stuck in there for a really long time? And how do you work with that with your clients? How do you work through these emotions that may come up so they can actually keep following that healing path?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's usually very easy, actually. Sometimes it's hard for people, and I can't count it. Like I had someone 3 weeks ago, I remember it, but it was hard for him. He was feeling so much resistances. But 98% of the people I work with, it's easy. And why? My wife helped me understand that, because she used to do ayahuasca, a lot. And we still do it sometimes. I think it's a beautiful medicine. But she told me, like, often you rattled, like you completely rattled by that force, by that medicine. And so you see your wounds, you see your trauma very clearly, but you don't have the power to go through them. And when we worked together the first time, she was not yet my wife, and she had a UTI, chronic UTI for 17 years. And she knew the trauma, and abuse. It's all abuse. We've been so much abuses. That's what creates all these diseases. She knew it. She had seen it. She had worked on it, but it was still there. So we went there, and she could see the abuser. She could see all of that, and she could heal it. She could remove it. And she told me the main difference is I was in a place of power. I was not rattled under from my ego. I was seeing it from my higher self. And so it was easy to understand, to shift the energy. So that's where I bring people first, before to do all of that, you access that power center. And when you're working from that place, it's different. You're going to see your emotion. You're going to cry. And you see people cry a lot, and it's good. It's very good to cry. And sometimes they even have fear to go. I say, just let go. Let's go together. When I do one-on-one, of course, it's easier. But even when I do it alone, I don't have to think that it's hard. The only thing that I can hear most is, for some people, it's hard to connect with energy. That is the first step for the people who are not, for whom it's not easy. But once you're able to connect and access that, the hard part is gone. You're almost enjoying to do these things because you already know the healing that's coming, and you just want to clear that from your field.
Wow, that's actually an amazing explanation. And I have never heard it explained in that sense before. And when you're coming from a place of power versus a place of maybe even helplessness or just complete disempowerment when you get rattled. Thank you for sharing that. I think also for our listeners, this puts into perspective a little bit what this kind of healing is really capable of if we are able to come from this place of power and connect to that source point, as you were saying, a completely different kind of healing to what we may have experienced before that didn't work or just didn't leave us in a place to complete the healing. So thank you for that. That is wonderful. And how should our listeners approach the stubble vortex? I'm kind of wondering, maybe a lot of them are curious now. They heard you kind of explain how this works, and they're probably curious to try this in their own lives now. How do you suggest that they start? Is there some times during the day they should do this? I know you mentioned 3 times. Is that a bit too much for people just starting out? And how long should they be doing this for? What do you recommend for anyone who's very curious right now to try this?
Yeah, first, I mean, we probably share the links, but you can download it. It's free. As many people, like people are showering, I would like they do their Vortex the morning. That's really my mission, or any other energy work that really works, basically. But it's important to start the day like that. So how long? It really depends how much time you have. It can be 5 minutes. It's already a good time to clear up a new field. How I use it, how most of my students use it, you spend 5-10 minutes. You wake up, you access your field, you silence your mind, you go inside, you start clearing whatever is. Maybe you have some thoughts, or another hard day, or how I'm going to do this. Okay, you witness all these thoughts. Once you're in the vortex, you let them slide, you make space, you start feeling more energy, more joy, more hope. And then when you're more in that space, you start reprogramming your day. You go clockwise, say, okay, today I really want to feel joy. Not the whole day. I really want to meet like 2 amazing people. I'm going to be like friends. I want this success for my... No, you start reprogramming from that place. It's clearly part of your routine. It's useful. It's not just, every meditation is useful, but it's even more, I would say, because you can have intention with it, and you program what you want, and then you go with it. You protect your energy. So that can be done in 5 minutes. If you have more time, you go deeper. Once you're in the field, then it's like a meditation. You can do whatever is coming to you. You're going to develop your access to your guidance, or your guides, however you call that, but your inner guidance inside. So you're going to have more exchange. You're going to develop your access to future. I teach that to people also, how to access future timeline and like retrieve information, which is really useful for the business, for the life. You can access that. You can access literally everything. You program, and then you can do it quickly during midday, when you need it, and at night you can spend more time before to go to bed, and then you fine tune it. I never want to give to people too many methods, because I like people to make their own way, and that's what's beautiful with the Vortex. It merges with everything. People doing breath work, doing even other, Reiki or other energy techniques, doing yoga. They can all plug in. They get into what they're doing. It's going to amplify the sensitivity, the connection with the intuition, the healing powers, and their clarity, where they want to go.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point to have this sort of as part of who we are and what we already do in some of those senses for yoga teachers or different kind of healing practices. And I think we can plug that in and make that part of ourselves. So that sounds amazing. For our listeners are curious and they want to know more, they'd like to work with you. What kind of programs or services do you have available where they could connect with you and actually explore a little bit deeper in this energy work and this energy healing? Because I have a feeling, and as you said, that the stubble vortex is just one part of a vast amount of things that you teach. So how can they connect with you and what do you offer?
Yeah, the core program I offer, it's called Potentia, and it's a 3 months live program. It's also available now, pre-recorded. And we go through the main step of what a human being should master. So mastering yourself, your relationships, and mastering your mission, your purpose. So in the first one, the self, we basically unlock energy, unlock trauma and block so we can really feel that peace, that power. We connect with our intuition and we work with our energy. We learn to master that and take ownership over our life. Then we move on to relationship with the divine, with the self, with the lover, with the family, with the friend, clearing everything that's in the way, basically, of our happiness, of our joy, and reprogramming what we want. And then we're finishing with the purpose, the mission. Why are we here on Earth? Because we cannot really live a fulfilled life if we don't know that. We can be happy to a degree. My father is like that and he's happy. He's a rare exception, but I don't know how he does that. He doesn't need a deep purpose, but most people are not, and for good reasons. So we access that. It's people channeling it. It's not me saying to people, this is your purpose. You find it inside. And just like the Vortex, by doing it more and more, you start channeling it more and more, having more clarity, and then you build your roadmap, your mission roadmap. What do you want to do? So that's the core program. It's live. It involves some one-on-ones. I've also now it's pre-recorded. I can also add some one-on-one. It's called Potential 108 on our website. And now I have also an offer, a special mentorship for people who wants to go even deeper when I work more one-on-one, mainly for leaders, CEOs, 6 months mentorship. They also do the potential, and we do more one-on-ones as well. So, and we have also very affordable offer at $29 a month for community access for 1 year, the pre-recorded course, for all the people who can do one-on-ones. It's already very profound with that.
Wow, it sounds like a wonderful space that you have created and what you're offering to the world. And of course, we will be linking to all of Skai's offerings in the show notes as well. So you can check there for how you can connect to him on the socials, on his site, where you can find his programs and also your book. We can link to that as well so that people know where to find that. I feel like there's this fascinating story that you went through yourself. So maybe some of our listeners would be interested to read about that as well as they're embarking on their own healing journeys. So we will be sure to link to all of that. And Skai, I just want to thank you. Really, I'm so grateful. And I want to say content right now with what I feel like we've had a bit of an energetic exchange here as we were talking. So thank you so much for spending this time with me and coming on the show today and sharing this amazing work with our listeners. I feel like we can all use some more energy work, some more healing, and some more coming home to ourselves and really finding out what our mission and purpose is. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Petra. And as you notice, the more you connected with that, the more you feel it, the more others feel it. And you start entering that world of really genuine happiness, and you start connecting with more people. Like that's how I live now. It's amazing the people I live. And I realized, because my energy now is pretty clear, pretty open. So I attract that in my life, attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right things. And we're not here to suffer. We choose a part of it to understand, but in the long run, that's not what we're here for. We need to accept it when it comes and transmute it. But choosing our joy and knowing what it is, it's really important. Thanks a lot, Petra. It was a beautiful interview.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was wonderful to have this exchange with you. And I really hope we share the message far and wide of what's available for people out there to truly, truly make these changes and transformations in their lives. As you said, we have this access to joy, to purpose, to health. We need to just put the word out how to do that. So thank you so much for this amazing work you do. And thank you for your willingness to share that. Take really good care of yourself, Skai.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Jōrni Podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Jōrni on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejorni.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.